the back end and saying, hey, if you help drive traffic to my site and help me raise money, I'm prepared to give you this much of the raise.
So, do you guys allow like websites or communities to have create their own curated projects?
We do. We actually have a widget system that hasn't been released. It'll be released in about 4 weeks, which will allow curators and kind of really more core influence groups that know their verticals to actually embed all these projects on their own sites and actually curate and be the voice around those industries. So if somebody was an expert in horror films, they might just come to SOKAP and simply with one click have all the horror films show up on their site.
And they become and they're an affiliate as well?
Yes, they become an instant affiliate, help drive traffic.
So you could still do the other type of crowdsourcing.
Yes, that's still in there.
Yes, you can simply pre-order, Indiegogo style, Kickstarter style. You can simply pre-order perks out of the store.
Can I ask, we just have one of our clients in London, Cedars, is a crowdfunding source.
Right.
Just to get an email today saying they are the first crowdsourcing company to receive regulatory approval anywhere in the world. Is that something you guys have to do as well?
We're good to go this way,
Okay.
but the whole push, yeah.
I think you already, because you're talking about HR2930, the new crowdsourcing.
Well, this is
It was in a bill that passed yesterday. I mean, one of the barriers to crowdfunding in the U.S. is if you offer any sort of, rather than a donation or a credit in the film, if you offer any sort of profit sharing or return on investment, and you hit more than 500 shareholders, quote unquote, which could be 500 of your Facebook.
November 17th. We're just waiting for guidance. Oh, it's already passed.
Well, no, the Senate still needs to pass it, is the thing. I mean, you need 2 houses to, and you could hit where the SEC considers it a public securities offering. Now, the thing that passed in November, the Entrepreneur Access to Capital Act and the Jobs Act that jumpstart our startup business, businesses that yesterday I think was HR 3606, but it was all pooled into the, it would have an exempt for $2 million, I think, below that.
Audited and 1
yes.
million not audited.
You're right about that. How would that change? And is it different in Canada? That's basically what I'm asking.
No. We're not selling securities. What you're talking about is selling securities. In this case, you are selling a business opportunity because only one individual, passively, not unpassively, comes in and buys an exploitation license. What you're talking about is sharing in revenue in a pro rata format across numerous investors. That is the difference. This is why we're allowed to do this. That is why you cannot sell shares online at this time. You cannot sell equity online yet.
Can you in Canada?
No.
Okay.
So your question is, yeah, the UK have moved their paperwork up a lot faster.
Yeah.
Currently they are just now allowing that. I was involved with one of the early drafts of the HR2930 bill 3 years ago. And yeah, as of yesterday, they've reconciled, I believe, 2 bills and are going to begin pushing it through the House.
To the Senate. It passed by 390 votes, and the good news is Republicans and Democrats are fighting over who gets credit, so that shows the idea was on the ascendancy. So
the main thing I wanted to mention there is that this is available now, but I think it's all very, very important, especially for companies. I mean, our product, our site allows people that have object-oriented startups to raise capital, right? So whether it's a digital or non-digital object, or software as a service, for example, to do that. You can't fund a biotech startup on our site. So that is necessary. It's absolutely necessary that the crowdfunding bill goes through to allow R&D heavy component companies to get that money that they need.
So here's a question. What's a non-ideal type of startup for this?
Non-ideal would be, say, somebody coming to us and saying, I want to build a building. I want to do a real estate development. I want to do an oil well.
Mining.
I want to do a mining deal.
It has to have a beginning and an end.
It's got to have a beginning and end. It's got to be a product that can be sold as a commodity.
And then, David, what about the mechanism as far as for like a free entry? In other words, if you start out with either a product or a service that's free, but you expect many upsells. Do you have a mechanism for that?
Currently, I mean, that's purely a market-driven decision. You would have to outline that on your pitch page that you were planning to do that. My guess is that most people on our site would probably not fund you that way, because the licenses are short-term. You set them yourselves, but most people are going to look for a return on the commodity immediately.
By the way, you still have to do all your due diligence before.
Absolutely.
You develop a campaign beforehand. It's not like you just don't post it, people just don't come.
That's right.
You have to basically do some.
And that's a good segue, and I want to lead into that on the due diligence side, because I met Claude because we were looking for a tool to be able to do discovery, to find the right people to help buy these licenses. And I met Claude, and I want him to talk about mixology and what he's doing now. And then anybody want to come up to me afterwards, please? I'll field any and everything.
So we were really happy to work with